Next, from the Union League Club of Chicago, House Republican members argue that the Democratic Party has stolen one of their arguments, that against no budget, no pay for legislators, with the intention of then ignoring the pledges after the election. We hear from several House members who introduced legislation, and then Deputy Governor and former Comptroller Leslie Munger. This runs about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Margot. Mark Batinick, 97th District, State Rep. I'm probably on the receiving end of the most ironic mailer. At the start of the budget impasse in July of 2015, I became chief co-sponsor of no budget, no pay legislation. I even bought the domain name, and you can go there now, www.nobudgetnopayil.com. Speaker Madigan never let that bill be called for a vote. Then, Comptroller Munger, who was comptroller at the time, withheld pay on her own. Speaker Madigan's lead attorney, Michael Casper, represented 6 Democrats who sued to get paid. Candidate Mendoza at the time decided that she was going to run on no budget, no pay. After the election, I and several others who are here today offered the new comptroller legal advice to use in court on no budget, no pay, offering her a defense, maybe an appeal. Not surprisingly, that advice was not followed. The point is, I worked extremely hard on no budget, no pay because I believed in the policy. Speaker Madigan worked hard against it. Speaker Madigan and his team worked hard against it. Fast forward to election time. Speaker Madigan's committee is funding mailers for candidates, including my opponent, promoting the concept of no budget, no pay. I think we have some examples on the boards behind us. In fact, both House and Senate Democrats around the state are now running on this concept during election time. So Representative McDermott alluded to this a little bit. Here's how the scam on Illinois families works. The first thing they do is they do an expensive poll to find out what people want to hear. Then they tell people what they want to hear during the campaign through mail, TV ads, and whatnot. Then if elected, they go to Springfield and they ignore what they told you. To use no budget, no pay as nothing more than a political tool to get elected is disgusting and dishonest. Illinois families deserve better. If Democrat leadership truly believes in the concept of no budget, no pay, they should call us back down to Springfield immediately and pass the legislation before the election. They have the ability to do this. We don't. If they're going to be true to Illinois families, they'll call us down for a summer session and pass the legislation that they have suddenly found that they support. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Representative Tom Morrison.
Thank you, Representative Tom Morrison from the 54th District. That's Northwest Cook County, primarily Palatine and surrounding communities. And just to dovetail off of Representative Batinick and McDermott and Breen's remarks, major issue in the state of Illinois, as we all know, is property taxes. And so it is it's shameful that we have such a strong Democratic majority that controls the bill process in the House and the Senate that passes bills that have no intention of becoming law, but make for great mail pieces or make for great headlines or make for great talking points as the candidates or as the incumbents go door to door talking to beleaguered Illinois property taxpayers. And so again, there are some plenty of examples we have over here of candidates, both incumbents. I don't know that my opponent's pieces are up here, but she's touting property tax relief when I've been down in Springfield and have seen these sham bills. They're brought up in the House. They're vigorously debated by Democrats in the majority who say, we need to listen to our taxpayers. We need to provide them with property tax relief. The bill passes and then is not sent over to the Senate. There's really no intention of it actually becoming law. And so recently I put up a video just exposing what's going on in my district. I put it to the theme music of The Sting because that's really what's going on. It's a con and it needs to stop and taxpayers can stop it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Leslie Munger, and I'd like to first make it very clear that I'm here as a private citizen on my own time, as a former state representative candidate, as the former Illinois Comptroller. I'm not a candidate for office now, and I have to say I have tried, because of my current role in the governor's office as an appointed state staff member, to really stay out of the political limelight and just focus on good state government. But when I saw the latest round of mailers that have gone out, specifically talking about no budget, no pay, I thought, this sounds so familiar. Where have I heard this before? And of course, it's because it was my initiative 2 years ago that, as you just heard from Representative Batinick, was initially started as putting lawmaker and elected official pay in line, including my own pay, and to make it more permanent through filing a bill that would make it legal for us to not pay legislators when they failed to produce a balanced budget that was signed by the deadline in the state of June 30th at the end of the fiscal year. So what we've seen is, despite the fact that we pushed all these things, we were obstructed every way. The legislation was filed, it went to the circular filer, never saw the light of day, and then just a couple of months later, 5 Illinois House Democrats sued me as the comptroller on my last day in office to make sure that their pay went right to the front of the line again, and they continued to get paid on a regular basis even though they had failed to do their job. As soon as Comptroller Mendoza had the chance to pay everyone, she caught up all of our all of the payments. So what do we learn from that? What we learn is that there are a lot of words on these pages. And all these pages, most of them, at least the ones I've seen, are sent from the Democrat Party of Illinois, run by Speaker Madigan. These words mean nothing if we don't have people who are willing to stand up and actually follow through and do what they say they're going to do. And we have to ask ourselves, are the people that we're electing to office, are these the ones who are actually follow through on what they say, or is it just another ploy to use words to get the vote and to go back to the status quo? Elections are expensive. They're certainly expensive for the candidates who have to run them, but they're more expensive for those of us who are taxpayers in the state. They're expensive because we see it in our property tax bills that make our homes no longer affordable, in the falling values of our homes that make them difficult to sell the homes that we need to try and get out of because we can't afford our taxes anymore. We see it in higher income taxes. We see it in the loss of jobs in our areas so people don't have incomes anymore or need to move out of state and leave their families. They're expensive for each and every one of us in our own pocketbooks. And so it's very important for us to look at what people say in their mailers and what they promise to do, but not just what they say, really what they actually do. So I'm going to ask people to remember these words today. Deeds, not words. Deeds, not words. There are a number of legislators and candidates who are willing to stand up and put their deeds where their mouth is, who are willing to say, I won't take a state pension, I'm here to work for the people of Illinois, who are willing to file the legislation necessary in order to have some of these reforms. Just an hour ago, 4 major business organizations just endorsed Governor Rauner for his leadership in helping businesses. They didn't do it because he said he would do it. They are endorsing him because he has done it. Deeds, not words. We have to be choosy voters. Just like we are very choosy when we purchase a home or a car or any other major expense. We have to look at this as what it will do to our own pocketbooks when we vote. And we need to vote for people who will not support the status quo, who will not continue down the empty promises that we've had in the past from the leader of the Illinois House and, frankly, the leadership that we've had in the General Assembly altogether. But we need to vote for people who really will stand for the taxpayers, who have put their bills in, who have advanced legislation, who have fought for it, and who have worked hard for the taxpayers of Illinois. Deeds, not words. Be a choosy voter. Thank you.
We would take any questions that anyone may have at this time. All right. Seeing that there's full agreement in the room, then we will conclude. Thank you, everyone, for coming.